Imagine a soap opera suddenly interrupted by $1 million crab. That is Island Claws. Welcome to Creepin' It Real. Thanks for joining me. I am Judah. We're going to be talking about the 1980s horror film known as Island Claws, which, as I mentioned, features a crab that cost $1 million. So I read. I can't confirm it, but that's what I read. Let's jump into this trailer. Let's have some fun, and let's just talk about this movie.
The crab is constantly growing inside of the shell. What I'm doing is injecting various formulas of growth hormone into the crab.
Let's stop right there. What he was just talking about is we have a facility here that is doing experiments on crabs, like you just heard. They're trying to increase their growth. So there becomes confusion about what the actual cause of this giant crab is, because we have this place that is doing experiments trying to increase the growth of crabs, but at the same time, there is a heavy push about the damages like nuclear reactors can cause to nature. There's a push in this to somewhat place the blame there, but that goes nowhere. They bring it up at the beginning of the movie. They actually show you the nuclear plant. There's a big story on the news about how there was an accident that occurred and some of the water got flushed into the sea. And there's a discussion about whether or not that could do anything. Obviously, the CEO of this facility, the nuclear plant, is all like, there's no way. There's no way that could affect anything. Is it the experiment that these scientists that are trying to play God and increase the growth of these crabs that cause this big anomaly at the end? Or is it humanity's greed for power that has leaked in and destroyed the ecosystem, causing this monster, almost a Godzilla type theory, but it never really explains it. Now, in my intro, I talked about this being a soap opera. That's exactly what this is. You have a whole bunch of like storylines that you think are important to this. It sets it up like, oh my gosh, this is important. And then it goes nowhere. Like this blonde, the one that you can see her face. This is a big storyline, okay? This girl seems romantically interested in one of the main guys who's doing these experiments with these crabs with growth increase. And there's a little back and forth. She says to him, "You're working with DNA? Isn't that dangerous?" Her dad is the CEO of the nuclear plant. So his retort is, it's no more dangerous than working with nuclear power. So there's kind of like this kind of thing going on. You think that this is going to lead somewhere. Here's the other thing. This guy that she becomes romantically entangled in, he has a father figure named Moody? I think his name's Moody. There we go. Moody raised him, but he's holding this dark secret that he hasn't told this guy. And this guy is like in his mid-20s, perhaps. This waitress opens a can of worms, which causes this young man to start questioning Moody. And he starts pressing him like, what's the problem? Well, here's the big soap opera twist. This young man's parents died because the father of this girl right here, the blonde chick, drove them home from a party while he was drunk, and they got in an accident, and his parents die. Her father obviously survives. He goes on to get married, has this daughter. So this is supposed to be some kind of, you feel like this is going to lead to some kind of conflict. You know what I'm saying? Like, her dad is the CEO of the nuclear power plant, and he was the guy who drove that young man's parents home, got in the car accident, and they die. So you think that at some point, this is going to play a significant part in the story where some kind of big choice is going to have to be made. And guess what? It goes nowhere. That storyline goes nowhere. I mean, it's just there to build up drama and it never gets resolved. It's almost like the young man finds out and he's just kind of like, yeah, life works that way. I don't care. This blonde chick's hot. I'm horny. That's how it felt to me anyway. Let's get back to this trailer.
Hey, what is this? Your answer to world hunger?
Don't laugh, it may be.
At 6 this morning, a full alert went into effect here at the power plant. All indications were that a nuclear accident had taken place. However, company officials assure us that it was a false alarm.
My gosh.
This is the young man I was speaking of. He's the one whose parents got killed by that blonde chick's dad.
I think we have to get out of here. Dr. McNeil, could this be a result of your research?
This guy right here, from what I read, was the very first James Bond, a TV adaptation of Casino Royale. He never did any more, but he was the very first appearance or actor to play James Bond. Is that not crazy? And I think he's an American actor. So that's...
Maybe.
John? Is that you?
This was another like storyline that went nowhere. And I swear it's like they're just throwing it in there for drama. This woman who has a minor part in the story. She has a minor part in the story. She works at the facility that is doing the experiments on the crabs. She goes out to dinner with the blonde chick and the young man. She has her own boyfriend. They're at a bar on the beach, having a good time, and then suddenly her boyfriend pops the question. So her boyfriend pops a question, and her response was just dead silence. Then the blonde chick and the young dude are like, oh, let's give them some space. And they leave, and they're talking about him like, that's so awkward. Why would he ever ask her to marry him in front of people? Why didn't he do that alone? Because he thought it was a sure thing. He wanted to share the moment. He wanted it to be a memorable moment. He didn't realize that he had been dating this chick that was only taking advantage of him. So this is just this big, like, it cuts back to the guy who just, proposed. And there's just some big blow up. And he starts running away to get into his car. She chases after him. Oh, it was so stupid. They get in the car and drive off, and then they stop, and it's just, I do like you. Yeah, you just don't love me. No, I just have things I want to do in life. Okay, well, thanks for the talk. What was the point? It was all just to get her away from everybody else. Because then he's all like, okay, well, let's go back to the party. And she's like, no, I just got to think a little bit. I'll walk back myself. It was all about getting her alone just so that she could walk back and get attacked by crabs. Soap opera storylines, big dramatic things that are going to be held off till the premiere of the next season, which never resolved themselves. And then suddenly this big, huge ass crab, which is pretty freaking amazing. I'm not going to lie. I mean, it moves quite slow and doesn't seem very scary or anything. But that thing is as big as a small house. And it's real. It's not CG. I mean, this is a practical effect that has moving arms and legs, moving eyes, pincers. They're really interacting with this thing. And it is quite amazing. It doesn't save the movie. I won't recommend this movie. It was quite boring to me. But as a fan of practical effects, it was amazing. It was beautiful to know the amount of work and time that was put into that. So that alone is fantastic. I also mentioned in the intro, what I read is it cost $1 million. And this movie, from also some sources say, cost $4 million. So a quarter of the budget went solely to making this crab that is like in the last 20 minutes of this movie. But also, speaking of storylines that go nowhere, there's some like storyline revolving these Haitians, people that boat over from Haiti, and they land, they're illegal immigrants and they're hiding in the forest. You have some people from this community that think that these Haitians are the ones that are causing these bad things that are occurring, when it really was just these angry crabs. So there's this whole "let's hunt the Haitians" storyline, which gets tossed out the window as soon as they find the Haitians and one of the little girls is sick. Then it's all like, damn it. I want to build the wall, but I don't want this little girl to die either. So then all that gets forgiven, and they take this little girl to the hospital. That was so anticlimactic. I mean, not like I wanted to see a bunch of people get shot because they are illegal immigrants, but that just didn't feel, that it felt too tidy. You know what I'm saying? So in the end, I'm going to give this probably a 4 out of 10. I wouldn't recommend it as a horror movie, but if you're somebody who loves old school practical effects, you may want to at least watch just the last 20 minutes so you can see this, and it really makes me long for practical effects. If only some of these movies, modern movies, would lean back into that, because this CG, like, it looks like garbage. I would much rather see bad practical effects than bad CG. But that's just my opinion. I want to know where you land on the practical versus CG. Leave your comments below. I will respond. I'd love to hear it. I could get a little heated on this. I'll probably temper it. This is one thing I feel really passionate about, the practical versus CG. But if you have any movie ideas that I should check out, leave those in the comments. Thanks for watching. If you made it this far, you get a gold star. You are a champion. Please like, subscribe, and share. Those things really help out. We reached 1,000 subscribers, which is fantastic. I really appreciate everybody who chose to subscribe. Can't explain that. It seems so crazy to me. So thank you so much. Thanks for watching. I'm Judah. This has been Creepin' It Real, and I'll see you later.